Good morning, here we are at Newtonrigg. It is Tuesday the 12th of May and a bit of a change in the weather, as you can see. Last week t-shirts, this week 2 coats. It's really chilly. We've actually had a really cold wind and we've had frost as well. Now what we're going to be looking at today is for our RHS level 3 students. We're going to be looking at our climbers. Now this is a new and abridged version of the list that you got at the end of term when we actually finished. And what we're going to do today is we're going to come round and look at them all individually, give you the names and some of the merits of them. So if you got the first list, this one has taken over from that, and if you didn't get the first list, this is the list you need to be looking at. And what we're going to start with is we're going to start looking at our clematis, and I'll just open the garden gate there and let our photographer in. And so what we've got here is we've got our Clematis montana, and as you can see it's flowering beautifully, and this one is Fragrant Spring. So this is Clematis montana Fragrant Spring, and if you actually smell those flowers, they smell like sugared almonds. Absolutely beautiful. So quite a lot of flowers, but sparse foliage yet, so the foliage will come out after the flowers as well. And you can see here that it's winding its way up here with this honeysuckle in with it as well, which we're going to look at in a minute. But that's our Clematis montana Fragrant Spring. Now if we're going to look at another clematis, I've got one here for you to look at as well. And this one here, I've got foliage there and a seed head as well. And this one is Clematis tangutica, and that's it there at the top of the picture with the yellow hanging lanterns and that beautiful seed head afterwards. So a very different flower to our first one. So that one is Clematis tangutica. Now we're going to move on, and we're going to come out here and we're going to look at our first of our Lonicera's, and this one here is evergreen, and this one is Lonicera henryi. So we can see this growing up here looking very lush and nice and green. So this one is Lonicera henryi. And we're going to move on and we're going to look, as we come around, we're going to look at this one that's down here. It's not climbing at the minute, you might say. No, it's not climbing, but this one is Hedera colchica Paddy's Pride. So this is an ivy here, and if we come round this side, we can see its huge leaves under here, and what it's doing a fantastic job of here is ground cover. So think about your climbers in slightly different ways as well. So this is doing a great job of ground cover under here. So that's Hedera colchica Paddy's Pride. We're going to come on round here and look at the next of our Lonicera. I think I'm walking slightly fast for the photographer. So we're going to come in here through the next gate and round, and we're going to look at this here. And this is another of our Lonicera, and this one is Lonicera periclymenum, and that one is Belgica. So its cultivar is Belgica, and look at the proliferation of flowers on it. And they smell absolutely beautiful. Looks fantastic. It's going to be absolutely covered in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be fantastic. The smell when you come round here will be beautiful. So that's our next one, which is Lonicera periclymenum Belgica. Then we're just going to move on round. We've got the same one on this side again, so we've got matching on both sides of our gates here, and they're absolutely covered in flowers this year. Then we're just going to come on down here to look at our next climber, and this is something a little bit different here. So we're looking at this climber here, which is doing its very best to cover everything, and you can see those tiny little leaflets. And if we look down here, here's a piece that I've taken off. So we've got these leaves which open like this. This one is Akebia quintata, and the quintata is the 5 lobes on here. And then if we look, here's its flower. which is absolutely beautiful. And its common name is the chocolate vine, and it smells of chocolate. It's very vigorous, this climber, and if you can see, it's gone right the way up our Cicidiphyllum here, and there is flowers right at the top. So only plant this if you've got sufficient room for it to climb, as it's doing a great job of climbing right the way up to the top of there. There is a light scent. I'm not sure it's chocolate, but there is a light scent with it. So that's Akebia quintata. And then if we turn round, and we can see here in our proliferation of climbers, that under here we've got this climber, which is Actinidia, and this is Actinidia chinensis. Down there, and this has splashed leaves which are pink. There's not much pink on this one yet. I think it needs a bit of sunshine. Pink, cream and green. This is Actinidia chinensis. This is actually a relative to our Actinidia, which is our kiwi. This one is grown for its nice foliage though, and there's another part there as well, but again, not a lot of pink on it yet, so I think it needs a bit more sunshine. Okay, then if we come along here, coming round, we're actually going to look at this climber, which is coming up here with these lovely leaves here, these limey green leaves, and this one is Humulus lupulus aureus. Sounds like a spell, doesn't it, that one? And you can see it climbing its way here up this tree peony with these lovely limey coloured leaves, and this is actually a hop. And what it is this climber is a deciduous climber, so every year it dies right back down to the ground and comes up again, and it's got quite sticky stems as well. You can feel the stems are quite hairy and sticky, and it's winding its way around there. Really lovely foliage, and as I say, deciduous, so dying back down at the back end and growing up again in the spring. So doesn't flower much in this country, needs a really good summer for it up north, but lovely foliage as well. We're going to move on. We need to just go around the corner now to look at our last two climbers. A bit of sunshine coming out of the garden gate. Tricuspidata, so it's three-lobed on the foliage and absolutely covering those buildings, so very prolific climber. And when we looked originally at these climbers, we looked and it has tiny sticky little feet, which is how it adheres itself to the building. But I think you'll see that it is covering this building. So once again, only plant this if you've got plenty of room for it to do its thing. And the other climber that's there that we're going to be looking at is our wisteria. And this is Wisteria sinensis. These are the leaves here from it. And this new growth coming out here. And here are the flowers in here with these racemes of pale lilac flowers, which are sweetly scented. They smell a little bit like sweet peas, I think. And you can see them hanging down here. And it does its climbing by winding itself round things. So here's the foliage from it, and here's the flowers, and that's our Wisteria sinensis. And then if we come back in here, this is our Parthenocyssus Tricuspidata, and we can see those 3 lobes on those lovely glossy leaves. That completes your 10 climbers from Newton Rig. And as a little bit of extra stretch and challenge, I'd like you to put together a few ways we could use climbers in the garden, and there's lots of different ways you can use them. So have a little think about it. Put me together half a dozen ways you could use climbers in the garden. Brilliant. Thank you. We'll see you soon.